Well, of course, the daily lives and the financing of the city of Camas. Back when I was mayor, that one paper mill paid more than 70% of all the property taxes. So all the other businesses, all of the residents paid less than 30% of the total property tax. And so fast forward to now, and I don't think when it comes, not only are we talking on employment, but when it comes to taxation, I don't think probably it's not James River anymore either, Georgia Pacific pays more than 5%, 10% at most. So you're talking from a tax standpoint of a huge decrease in the percentage and much more from the other industries involved. So that dependency that would have been so horrific if we had not diversified our tax base has been lessened greatly by the expansion of other companies. So that's what keeps us going. Well, you got to remember, back when I became mayor, banks still wouldn't give a woman a credit card. The husband had to get the credit card because women couldn't have their own credit card. I had a store, and since I did not have a husband, even though I had borrowed money, when you're in a gift shop sort of business, the cash flow is really difficult before Christmas, and then, then you pay them back in January, that sort of thing, the banks. I was appalled when one year the loan officer said that since I didn't have a husband, that I'd have to have, and this was when I believe I was on the city council at the time, I would have to have my father sign the loan. So it was a very different time. And people in Southwest Washington, I mean, there were no women mayors, hadn't been, and as you see, it was 30 some years before Camas had another woman mayor. And she's going to be up for election. She was appointed recently, but so you can see the times have changed so much. Long before that, though, I was working. That store I told you about at the One Stop Shopping Center, my dad had the drugstore and kind of a, what you might call a variety store back then. And I worked there from the time I was 9. And I worked there a lot. I was quite a little salesperson. Well, one of the things that I'm particularly proud that we've evolved to this is that back when I was in Camas High School, I was an excellent student, but I was excellent at learning facts and regurgitating what I thought that the teachers expected. And so then you get the good grades. And I watched over the years Camas High School grow. Back when I graduated, there were less than 100 kids in our senior class. Okay, and Camas High School just kept growing and growing, and I became more and more concerned about, unless you were a super jock or a super student, it would be really easy to just get lost at Camas High School. And so it was so important to me that there be other options, other ways of learning. And I was really glad that they had done the magnet programs. But I was serving on a committee about the future of Camas High School several years ago. And one of the things we talked about was this type of project-based learning, a different way of learning and working as collaboratively and less competition, and more collaboration. So I was absolutely delighted when Odyssey was formed in the old Sharp building, because I had made a presentation to the school board that said, I told them that this new kind of learning, don't build a building and then see if it fits in. Why don't you use an empty building, which that building was, and give it a shot, see what works and doesn't, and then build a building. So here you are in the new building, but with the experience of what they were dealing with at Odyssey.
Yeah.
So I think it's absolutely wonderful. And I am so impressed with the self-confidence and the, I think people are learning how to read other people and how to make them comfortable.
Yeah.
And be proud of yourself enough to walk up and shake my hand and say, I'm so-and-so, and we're really glad you came to see us today. I mean, I was blown away when I first went to Odyssey 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I remember you came to Odyssey. I was at Odyssey in 8th grade.
Yeah.
I remember you came, and it was a really fun time. Everybody wanted to meet you, and it was great.
Well, I was just blown away with your self-confidence and self-assuredness, and the descriptions of your projects. And when one of the students was explaining the projects to me and said, we develop a concept of what we want to achieve, and we have to work with our advisors and all that. And then we begin to move. And often we hit a wall, but we never give up. We back up, regroup, find a different route, pivot, and move forward. And that gives me goosebumps to this day that 8th graders would have figured that out, because I don't even think in college we'd figured that out. So it's amazing.